There were times I thought Beijing Confidential was the wrong title. It should have been called Jan Wong's Guilt Trip. Because
that's a good title.
You felt really guilty.
Yeah, I did, because I knew how much impact this would have had on her life.
I mean, did you think that maybe that she'd been taken out and quietly shot? I mean, was that a possibility?
It was unlikely that she had been taken out and shot. What might have happened was that she had tried to kill herself once she realized her life was ruined. It might have been that she was sent to a really terrible place to do hard labor. It might have meant all kinds of impact on her family, that maybe it meant if she had siblings, they couldn't do what they wanted to do, or her father would have been affected, or her mother. There was no end of things that could have gone wrong. I didn't think, they didn't really take people out and shoot them at that point in the campus. People were getting killed, but it was largely due to factional fighting. One group of Red Guards would try to kill the other group, and they literally were killing them. So I was really worried that something really terrible had happened. Well, it's terrible enough to have your life end at university. There's no recourse, you're just out. It's terrible if you are sent to the countryside, because I have been to the countryside. I mean, I did do that as a student, but I wasn't doing it as a punishment. It's hard enough when it's not a punishment. It's hard enough when everyone's praising you for being so good that you go and do hard labor. But when you're doing it as punishment, I think it would be 10 times worse and 10 times harder to do. So I didn't know what had happened to her.
Can I give it away that
I found her?
You found her?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. I found her.
How do you feel about her, and how does she feel about you now?
Well, surprisingly, she was happy to see me. She had never forgotten me, which, of course, the cynical side of me would say, well, obviously she wouldn't forget me. But she meant it in a nice way. She remembered our walk, and the thing that she didn't know was that I had voluntarily turned her in. And I told her that. I said, you don't understand that I wasn't like other people who had no choice. They were interrogated about you, they had to say. I was voluntarily turning you in. And I guess on the last day, just before I was leaving, she phoned me and told me that that had really upset her and hurt her. And she didn't realize that I had done it deliberately. I don't think she has to forgive me, but she did. But her life turned out to be really good. She turned out to have suffered a lot.
She got to America, like she asked.
She got to America.
And she's come home, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah. She was back where she belonged, which I think is Beijing. And she had a really good life. And so in a way, it was so good that I found her. And I think I've forgiven myself, too, for what I did. But it was so good to see that her life had turned around really completely. And that she was, everything that she had wanted in the 1970s was really what Beijing has today. She was just way ahead of her time. And, you know, now everybody in Beijing has cars and fancy stuff and all the Western things, ketchup, you know, they've got it. McDonald's, Starbucks, they've got the West. And what she wanted has come true.
You could have just closed that diary and went, okay, that gets burned now, and let's hope no one ever remembers, and I can be pure, sweet Jan Wong.
Yeah, I know. I thought of that. I thought of not. If I didn't write it, nobody would have known in Red China Blues. I didn't have to. But I feel it's important to explain what people did, and someone like me who just flies in from Montreal and starts acting like a Maoist, how is that possible? And I thought it was important because we condemn China for the Cultural Revolution, but we don't realize how thin the veneer is between ourselves and, you know, Lord of the Flies. It's the same thing. It's really, we're not very far away from dissolving civilization and becoming barbarians. So I wanted to put that in to show that it's not the Chinese, it's the situation. And I really wanted to talk about this in Beijing Confidential to understand. I wanted to force myself to understand why I did it. I really tried to push dig deep and understand, why did I do that? And the funny thing is, one of my son's friends was over, and he had smuggled a bottle of beer into the house. They're 13. They were 13, 14. And we knew because we didn't buy that brand of beer. So my husband found it, and then something else happened in another kid's house where that mother had to call us and tell us all the bad things that had happened. So I thought, well, if that mother's telling me about my son, I guess I better tell the other mother that her son had smuggled a bottle in. So I did the same thing I did back in Beijing University.
You denounced the kid.
I denounced the kid. I told his mom, and you know what she did? She grounded him for a month. So I've also had to go back to this kid and say, I'm really sorry. I didn't think you were going to get grounded for a month. And he says, it's okay, it's okay. So I still am doing it. I wonder when I'm going to learn.
The book is Beijing Confidential, a tale of comrades lost and found. I've been speaking with the author and columnist and woman to take you out to lunch, Jan Wong, and Beijing Confidential, published by Doubleday Canada.